Well, the X-Men are coming back more mediocre than ever. Marvel finally released some promo images for the upcoming relaunch, along with this video. Just have a gander at this. No, I didn't do this. I haven't edited a thing. This is what they posted. To whoever made this, I'm glad you discovered animation in After Effects. Just remember, less is more. That's a lesson Marvel should learn because apparently the relaunch includes 9 titles. X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Exceptional X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor, NYX, Phoenix, Storm, and Wolverine. That's about 5 titles too many. Part of what destroyed the Krakoa storyline was cramming in a bunch of books that just didn't fit with the overall theme. The concept worked better when it was limited to a handful of titles. When you have nearly a dozen books, it invites people to do their take on the X-Men, irrespective of what anybody else is doing. It makes even less sense when the plot of the new arc is that the mutants are more feared and hated than ever. Newsarama reports that the X-Men will go back to their, quote, classic status quo as fugitive superheroes, fighting to save themselves and other mutants from those who despise them for who they are. My understanding is that Marvel isn't retconning the Krakoa era, so it still happened and the world might still be aware of it, which taints the idea of returning to the status quo. Originally, mutants were feared and hated without reason. But in the Krakoa era, the X-Men became xenophobic isolationists who tried to buy off humans by offering them cancer-curing, life-extending drugs in exchange for being left alone, all while creating a mutant nation no human could ever enter, while also setting up mutant-only ports in every major country on the planet. And oh yeah, they colonized Mars and declared that mutant-only, along with literally showing up in random countries demanding people hand over their mutants. Now there is a good reason, several actually, for humans not to like mutants, so going back to the status quo doesn't make sense. The only way it works is if the Krakoa era didn't happen. But in fairness, Marvel hasn't released any information about the overall plot because they're still wrapping up the Fall of X, which kinda makes a reveal pointless because we don't know why we should be excited. However, Marvel thinks you should be excited because of the new creative teams on the 3 main X titles. From Newsarama, quote, announced during the Future of Marvel Comics panel at South by Southwest, the new X-Men line will be centered around 3 core titles: X-Men by writer Jed MacKay and artist Ryan Stegman, Uncanny X-Men by writer Gail Simone and artist Marquez, and Exceptional X-Men by writer Eve L. Ewing and artist Carmen Carnero. Oh my stars and garters, hold on, let me collect myself. Not because I'm overwhelmed, I just need to clean up so I have somewhere to lay down and take a nap after reading that list. I have nothing against Ryan Stegman, I think he's an awesome artist. I don't know anything about MacKay, Carnero, or Marquez, but Gail Simone and Eve Ewing? I mean, Gail's skills have faded with age, and Eve found her groove, but it's got no rhythm. Their book should be titled Very Canny and Unexceptional X-Men. Of all the people to choose to head the X titles, these are the people you picked? I'll remind you that Eve Ewing had a major event a couple of years ago called Outlaw, which was basically Civil War but with teens, complete with Eve showing that she had no idea what happened in Civil War 1 or 2, and Marvel forgot to promote it. This thing came and went and then the Krakoa era started, and no one noticed. And when it comes to Gail Simone, the last I heard of her was when she signed on to lead Lion Forge's superhero books, which went a whole lot of nowhere. I'm sure she's done other stuff since then, but that was supposed to be a major event that never really hit. These all seem like a strange choice for the creative teams. No one really stands out, no one really makes me want to buy the books. And then we get to the X teams themselves, and there's nothing interesting about them either. X-Men has Cyclops, Magneto, Good Beast, Psylocke, Kid Omega, Temper, Magic, and Juggernaut operating out of Alaska. Uncanny X-Men has Gambit, Rogue, Wolverine, Jubilee, and Nightcrawler operating out of New Orleans. Exceptional X-Men has Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost training new characters Bronze, Axo, and Melee operating out of Chicago. You know who else operates out of Chicago? Scotty Young. How come you didn't give him an X book? His run on Strange Academy more than proves that this is the man to write a teen cast X book. That should be your Uncanny X-Men. Put Scotty Young and Jorge Corona on it. They killed it with Middle West. I'm sure they do the same with the X-Men. But then you got the other 6 books, 2 of which are definitely team books, and 1 NYX that might be. And I don't get why Marvel needs that many team books. Set up the new status quo first. Get that settled in for a year or 2 before adding in all these extra titles. Speaking of which, I get the solo Wolverine book, but not the solo Storm and Phoenix books. Neither Storm or Jean, I'm assuming it's Jean, have been good at holding their own titles. They really work better as part of an ensemble. It just seems like this relaunch is a thing Marvel's doing just to do it instead of trying to fix the problems caused by the Krakoa era and the general mediocrity that's plagued the X-books for the last decade. The focus should be on getting at least one solid X-Men book working, not cramming in as many spin-offs as possible right from the start. Now, there is a chance that the relaunch could be good. Stop laughing. I don't believe it either, but it is technically true that it could be good. I would like it to be good, but I find that the more that I want things to go well, the less likely that'll happen. It seems to me that Marvel really doesn't want to end the Krakoa era, so they're playing to nostalgia possibly as a bait and switch or as a ruse just to stick it to people for not liking where the X-Men ended up. That sounds petty, but remember, Marvel tried to relaunch the New Warriors purely to spite one person. Yeah, boy Zach, aka Diversity in Comics, government name Richard Can't Stand Your Meyer. Relaunching the entire X-Men line as boring nostalgia bait would be right up their alley. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.